Welcome to Community Cocktails with Kimberly, hosted by Kimberly Woodard, a realtor who's been selling homes in North Texas with more than 21 years of experience. Join her every first and third Wednesday of the month as she meets with top community leaders, local businesses, and real estate industry experts to help you get to know the area you want to call home. Don't just love your home, love your community. And now your host, Kimberly Woodard.
Welcome, viewers, to this episode of Community Cocktails with Kimberly. I'm super excited about this guest, and this organization is dear to my heart. I am excited to have Pam Rosener here. She is not only the founder, but also the national president of the ymsl, Young Men's Service League. Welcome, Pam.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really super excited to be here and share our story.
Yes.
A little bit of our story.
Yes. Well, this organization, I could tell viewers, it is dear to my heart, but it has been around for over 20 years because we got to celebrate 20
years.
We
had our birthday.
And let's go back. I mean, back in time. Let's
yeah.
roll back. And you guys started it. And how did you start this organization?
So my sister-in-law and I, who you know, Julie, we're at a birthday lunch in the neighborhood with some friends, and our daughters had been involved in National Charity League.
Right.
And so they were in 10th grade, and we had boys that were in 8th grade at that time. And we just started saying, there is nothing like that for us to do with our sons. And so we looked around, tried to find something different, and there wasn't. And so we got a group of 8 or 10 moms together and formed the founders of the organization and sat down and had 10,000 hours of meetings to try to figure out, who gets credit for what and what philanthropies we'd serve and, how many hours you get for a casserole, all the good stuff, right?
Yes.
And we launched with 30 incoming 30 ninth graders and 30 10th graders.
Oh, wow.
The very first year. So in 2001.
Wow.
And it was a roller coaster because, I'd never been a leader before of anything, nothing, hadn't even been president of a PTA or anything. And so just trying to lead this group and figure out our path has been a very interesting journey and very rewarding. We started with those 60 boys and, today we have about 25,000 people participating across the country and, I think we're up to 130 chapters in 18 states. So it's been a long history of, just a lot of experiences. But we started with the founding principle of service, 3 pillars, I say.
Right.
Serve, learn, and lead. So service was our primary thing. And having meetings for the boys to teach them things that they don't learn from church or school or scouts or whatever. And then also trying to incorporate some leadership opportunities for them and for our moms. When we first started, it was all about the boys.
Right.
But what we've learned over the years is it's also the moms are the secret sauce.
Yes.
They make the organization run and they're extremely talented and they give so much of their time and their passion for our organization. And they actually love the fact that they get to spend that time with their son, right?
It is invaluable.
Magic time.
Yes. And, I've gone through the entire organization with my oldest, who is now in college, and it was a great time. And now I have my younger one who is in it. And it's that invaluable time, which I tell people, and yes, they may serve at school, but you don't get to do that. Mm-hmm. This is something where you and him can have that time together. And I've always tried to instill with my boys that serving the community is, you should, do that. Always give back. Mm-hmm. And being able to do that with him and watch him do things and also take him outside of, I think everyone lives in their own bubble. Yeah. Wherever you are, you're in your own bubble. So you've really broadened them out to different things. And that's what we tried to do together is serve at different, whether it was the retirement home or, helping with the homeless. It was obviously those are 2 different experiences.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it also opened his eyes to 2 different worlds.
Mm-hmm.
So
You said if I had any funny stories, I do
Yes.
have a really funny story about my own son, Grant, and he's one of 3 boys.
Yeah.
And we went to a habitat build, and he was probably 16 then. And, sometimes I say to the moms when they're getting involved in an organization, it's not always, this magic experience, right? Sometimes you have to drag them by the ear to get them up on Saturday morning to go do what they're going to do.
Definitely.
And so he got there and they wanted him to dig a hole to plant a tree, and they handed him a pickaxe, which, he's never picked up a pickaxe in his life, honestly. And said, here, and gave the other boy a shovel and dig this hole. It has to be 3 feet wide, 3 feet deep.
Right.
And they're digging for a good hour, 2 hours. And then the shovel goes in and they hit clunk. And the manager comes over. He goes, "Oh no, that's the sewer line. We can't put the tree here. You got to fill that in.
Oh no.
And dig the tree hole over here." So we get in the car to go home after, 4 hours volunteering. And I said, "So Grant, what'd you learn today?" And he goes, "How to dig a hole?" And I said, "No, you know what? We were fixing that home for that family that's going to be moving in there and trying to make it beautiful. It's really what we were doing, who we were serving. But probably now when you're a homeowner and you go to plant something in your yard, you're going to think about where that sewer cap is in the sidewalk and see if it lines up with where your hole is."
That is a true statement.
And so, we had a good laugh about that, and we still laugh about that. But that's a funny story. But we have meaningful ones too.
But yes, and he learned a valuable lesson.
Yes, a valuable lesson.
Because I'm sure the next day he was sore.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Manual labor. Well, and I, kind of joked with my oldest. They were like, "Oh, it's manual labor." I'm like, "Well, go back to study. It's going to be great." And so there's a lot of lessons learned, but I think, with the organization, the service is so important. The different things that the boys learn in their boys meetings are invaluable. And a lot of those things that I've seen in the curriculum with, ours is that it's a lot of things that maybe you've talked to your boys about, but it's different when it comes from someone else.
Exactly.
And especially when they're with their peers too. And so I always say repeat, sometimes it does take, 3 to 4 times for someone to, get it. So if they've got a little bit, mom's been nagging them about this thing, dad's been, maybe they heard it from, school, and it's still, then they, hear it again. They're like, well, it must be important.
Yeah. Well, one of our favorite meetings that we did in Plano was at St. Andrew, and we had a speaker come. Sean speaks. It was a series. He's still out there speaking. And we had, I think, 1,600 young men attend a meeting there. And you walk in and Sean is in a wheelchair that actually lifts him up to a standing position. Okay. And he had been a passenger in a drunk driving accident.
Oh, wow.
And so his whole talk was about the fact that he made the wrong choice of getting in the car with the drunk driver. Right. And he was paralyzed completely except for one finger. Oh, so he types his whole presentation, does everything with one finger, and that it makes a voice and speaks to the kids. So he didn't have an actual voice that he could talk with. It was all computer generated because he made the bad decision about getting in a car with somebody who had had too many alcoholic drinks. And let me tell you, that room, you could hear a pin drop and the impact of the boys. And my youngest one came out and he's like, "I'm never going to get in a car with somebody who's been drinking." Right. And I could have said that to him 92 times, right? But seeing and hearing it from somebody who's actually, close to a peer, this kid was 22 or 23 years old, was very, very impactful.
Well, because that age, boys, girls, they think they're invincible is basically what it is. Yes. And so, but reality, when they see a peer that something actually did happen to them, it brings it into, oh, wait, they step back a minute and they're, oh, this could happen to me. And so I think that is what the impact and, of those, kinds of, speakers that, are doing, and they're giving back to the community. They're, they're helping and trying to help others not make the same choice that they did.
So one of the things that we really focus on in our boys' curriculum is staying relevant, right?
Right.
Okay, we started things 20 years ago.
Right.
What we talked about 20 years ago is very different today.
Oh, yeah.
One of the things that we're trying to incorporate right now is, fentanyl awareness and what it means and how dangerous it is and how easy it is to die from it. 2 years ago, we did the whole vaping series on vaping. Yep. We are trying to stay very, very current with what we're teaching our boys.
Yep.
And that is why we brought in the Clifton strengths.
Yes.
So we got rid of one of our old categories that wasn't difficult. And we thought, well, what else are we lacking in the program? Right. And what we're lacking is that leadership thing. We really have focused on lots of other things, but we were really missing a strong leadership component. And when we were exposed to the program and realized that if you're a teenager and could figure out what your top 5 strengths were at the age of 15 or 16, that won't change in the rest of your life, how much more are you, directed are you going to be thinking about your career and how you interact with others and all that. So we really are excited about that. It's a new one that we started this year.
No, I think it's great because it does. You can take those, strengths and build on them for them and really be able to focus on it. And maybe there's something that you really want to strengthen, but it's a little weakness. Maybe you can, break that
build it. Yeah. Although more. Clifton will say, no, don't bother. Yeah.
but
surround yourself with the people who do that.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. And so I think it's been great on when it comes to the leadership. I did see with my oldest, his leadership, he did a lot of leadership at school. He was the editor-in-chief of his school paper and did a lot of those things, and he could get it to an audience and speak, just off the top of his head. I was always amazed by that. Mm-hmm. But I think he also, in his freshman and sophomore years of YMSL, he did do leadership roles in there, and he has a passion for film. And so one year he did all the filming for our Ultimate Gift did
Where is he now? We need some of those guys.
But he's, because that was his passion. We took that, that at that time, the mom that was running the Ultimate Gift, she said, well, then let's just build on that of his passion to do this. And so he went around, interviewed all the people, filmed them, cut, spliced our video, and he just had a great time. But he was doing both of the things, something he loves to do, which is video and film, and he was serving, watching something come together.
Being exposed to the Ultimate Gift is super fun.
It is super fun. So I know a lot of these moms are sitting there. They may have kids that are not yet, they may have elementary or middle school, or they may have, an 8th grader
or a 7th grader
or 7th grader, or even a 9th graders. A lot of our chapters are, we still have open spots for that sophomore year. And they're sitting there going, well, how do I get my son to join? Because, we all know if you ask your son, does he want it? You're going to get a I mean, they're teenage boys.
Yes,
Let's
exactly.
just say that.
You want me to do what? No,
right. But I think, a point is, our moms out there, how much fun we have had as moms, joining the organization, whether it's a group that a lot of the women, or a group that you don't know. I always say network is always a key to be able to network with new people. But it's just fun because we learn things as well.
Well, the moms have a great time, and I think it gives them an opportunity to bond with new people, like you were saying, and realize that there are people who have incredible talents. Like I said, sometimes you're just shocked because this person you never met before, and now they're like, whoa, wow, you do that, and professionally, it's very good professionally. It's good to network, and it's also good for your resume. We're really starting to we never used to promote that for our leaders, but what we've learned is having that role on a board is very important for their resume going forward for a board, not a nonprofit board.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, and some of our moms, maybe moms that they decided to stay home, for a while, raising, helping with the kids and everything. Now the kids are a little bit more, they're getting older. They're getting to that age that they're going to be going off to college. So they're thinking, well, maybe I may want to go back to work. And this is a good resume builder.
Yeah.
Because it's showing that you're doing something, and whether it is you're being paid for it or you're doing it as volunteer, it's still a job.
One of our national leadership team people, this exact same thing happened. She stayed home and raised her kids, and she started working pretty almost like a full-time job for YMSL. And she was able to secure an amazing job from the skill set that she learned when she was working with us. So.
Yes. No. So I think those are invaluable points for those moms that are sitting out there thinking, well, my son's not going to, how do I kind of curse?
Am I going to have any fun? Do I want to spend the time, invest the time? Yeah.
Well, and we have fun meetings. Like I know at my chapter, we started like a cocktail hour before the meetings just for the moms to socialize, have, kind of meet one another, get to know one another. And then we start our meeting and we always have fun. We had our last meeting was an OBGYN. And since we are all kind of getting into that age, things changing. That's what she talked about. It was, but she brought it to light and, had a fun, she was very energetic and funny about ways and things that she was talking about. But we all were just, looking at each other, shaking our heads like, oh I can relate to that. It was just a great, great meeting. But we've also had, people where it's been about prepping our kids for college, those things that maybe you've had one go through, but things change.
Oh, I know. You got to be on it.
You have to. And, especially, post-COVID, there was, ways that they did it before COVID, then it's post-COVID. How's it changed? And what do we need to, be more worried about? What do we need to prep our, kids? How do we, assist our kids in the whole process? And what are schools actually looking for these days?
And it changes all the time.
It does.
Yeah, all the time.
And it changes from university to university. And so I thought that was, and so I guess all these meetings have really been able to, as our moms, really helped our moms. And we, try to keep it up to date, fun topics that are just, current event.
Or having one of the people that you serve, all the chapters have their own philanthropies and sometimes just bringing back somebody to talk to the moms and explain the why.
Why, yes.
Why are you serving? Why do we need you to come? What is the purpose of this philanthropy? And it makes us kind of reset too, right? We're like, oh yeah, like I'm busy and I do my crazy things, but when I'm there volunteering, I need to remember the why, who we're serving, and I think that's always awesome too. I love
that.
They do that.
We had Lance with Street Side Showers, and his story of how he decided to start that organization is just it's a tear eye, and because he was in the bathroom and saw a man, and he was like, kind of looking like, what's he doing? And he's seeing him kind of cleaning himself up, using a public bathroom. So he just asked him what he was doing, and the man had fallen onto hard times, so he was going, for a job interview, and this was where he could get some water to get himself presentable for. And it got to him thinking that, I want to be able to, offer showers to people, because if they feel clean, then they can get back to their life, start back. And, sometimes it's that they just, that month, it's not always when we've helped that organization, homeless people. It's maybe that they just had a hard month or two and they couldn't pay all their bills. So, they don't have water this week or, so. But
one of my favorites is Agape. I don't know. You guys, do you work with Agape? I'm not sure.
no,
So Agape is in Plano. It's run by Janet Collinsworth, and she was the founding leader for the Seven Loaves Food Pantry at St. Andrew.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So after she got that launched, then she went and started Agape, and it's Hope for Housing is the name of her ministry. And been working with her off and on over the years, but I love they are bringing women and children out of homelessness, get them into a program to get them back on their feet. And they're kicking off a really super exciting new thing in Wiley, which is going to be a 38 unit affordable housing complex where the people graduating from her program will get to move into an affordable housing forever, as long as they can stay there and pay the affordable rent. And they're also going to have it for nurses and firefighters and police officers who are living below the poverty level, honestly, and need affordable housing. And so it's so great because she's a homegrown, person and who I love to death, and very excited about this because we want also her dream is to make it duplicatable. So that once we get one in Wiley, then maybe the communities will feel comfortable with it. And maybe we can get one in Plano and we can get one in other cities, in Texas. So YMSL has been a big part of supporting that ministry and seeing it go and really helping the facilities there. And so that's just another great local story.
Yes. No, and I love that. I mean, there are so many great local people starting these philanthropies, these organizations that then we can help them with serving and, really servicing our community.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line. So I'm always, always continue to give back, and we want to instill that in our young generations. So then it will continue through the generations to come.
Super important. I think, and we're trying to refocus our young people to going back to in person. COVID messed everybody up.
Oh yeah,
in lots of ways, and so we're so excited that this year we're back in person. And being involved in people's lives and having that face-to-face interaction. And I think that the boys and the moms are really feeling so much better about what they're doing and how they're giving because they can actually physically go do it. Yeah. It's been an exciting year because
it's very rewarding too. So just to see the gratification of, what people's faces, whether you're at the nursing home and you've brightened that one, resident's day because he hasn't, seen anyone or had anyone, other than staff, in a week. And he's playing bingo, it just brightens their day. And they look forward to it too.
Yeah, they absolutely do. Years ago at your chapter, actually, there was a president who gave a talk for his senior graduate. They have to speak at the banquet, right? And I went to the banquet, and I share this story all the time. But he said, he called it, I just did an hour. And he started his talk, and he said they were with Angel League, and he went up to they have to sign up for 6 weeks and go every Monday it was to, play sports. And they were in baseball season.
Right.
And so he saw this little boy off to the side, not very happy. And he went up to him and said, "What's wrong, buddy?" And he goes, "I don't really like baseball." And he said, "Well, what do you like to play?" And he said, "I want to play soccer." So this kid happened to have a soccer ball in his car. He went and got some things, made goals out of something, right? And he and this kid played soccer. And, every time he scored the goals, everybody went crazy.
Right.
And then they packed up and went home. And the next week he showed up, and the parents came up to him and said, "We are so thankful for what you did last week." And he goes, "I played soccer?" And so they go, no. We videotaped it. And every day when he came home from school, he watched himself scoring the goals, and it made him so happy. You changed his whole week.
Wow.
And so I still get goosebumps telling the story. And so he ended his speech saying, "Yes, I gave an hour of my time that week, but in my wildest dreams, I never thought it would impact somebody that way. And it's going to leave a lasting impression on me that I can give an hour."
Right.
And what it might do
make
for
a
somebody
difference.
else. Mm-hmm.
Well, I love that. So I know those viewers out there now, you all want to sign up, especially hearing that story, because it made me want, I'm already into the chapter. But we have the website for YMSL here. So if you're looking for a chapter, right now is of course the time that the chapters are taking new members, and you can find a local chapter that is near you. There's obviously lots of them over in our area. So we hope you sign up.
Yeah. Or if you have friends in other cities and states, right? Still send them to the website.
Yes.
You know, you might have a cousin or a sister who lives somewhere else. And so we'll probably start 20, 25 new chapters this year across the country. And so we would love to hear from you too. And just go ymsl.org. And
Perfect.
It's pretty easy, and you'll have it on the thing. So
Perfect. Well, thank you, Pam.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers to a great new year.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on Apple and Spotify, as well as Kimberly's YouTube channel. If you'd like to contact Kimberly directly, you can email her at kimberlywoodard@ebby.com or call 214-632-2092. We hope you enjoyed our guest this week. And remember, don't just love your home, love your community.